Welcome back everyone, and this time is for UFC 293. We've got a main card, a prelim card, and an early prelim card. The early prelim card with 3 fights. First fight taking place in the welterweight division, and we've got Kevin Jousset taking on Kiefer Crosby. They are both making their debut in the promotion. Yet, I know a lot more about Kevin Jousset than Kiefer Crosby. So for this one, I'm gonna go and predict Kevin Jousset to get the win by submission, maybe in the second round. Next, in the featherweight division, we got Shane Young taking on Gabriel Miranda. For this one, Shane Young is the favorite in the betting odds, slight favorite, not much. But since Gabriel Miranda has a 100% finish rate, including it's 15 or 14 submission wins, I would say that Gabriel Miranda is going to pick up the win by submission, maybe in the first round. It's a shame though that Shane Young is over the weight limit, and it maybe is going to count as a catchweight fight. Next, we go back to the welterweight division as Mike Diamond takes on Charles Rachke. Charles Rachke is making his debut in the UFC, and Mike Diamond is making his return to the company after a 1-year layoff. And this one is tough to predict since I don't know about both fighters. But I would say that Mike Diamond is not going to get a win, actually. I think he's going to lose by unanimous or split decision to Charles Rachke. Next, the first fight of the prelim card, as we have moved down now to the prelim card, takes place in lightweight division, and it is Nasrat Akparat taking on Landon Quinones. Landon Quinones is making his debut also in this event. Therefore, I don't know since I don't know both fighters, I would say that Nasrat Akparat is going to get the win by decision. It's his 11th fight in the UFC, so yeah, pretty confident he's going to get the win. Next, we actually stay in the lightweight division as Jamie Mullarkey takes on John Makdessi. I would say they are both veterans in the UFC. They had a lot of fights. I think it's more than 10 each. So they are experienced, they are veterans. But for a winner, I think I would pick Jamie Mullarkey. He has been more sharp and more fighting more regularly than John Makdessi, since John Makdessi is making his return from his layoff that lasted 1 year. After 1 year off. So yeah, Jamie Mullarkey is going to win. Maybe a finish in front of his home crowd, I would say. Alright, moving on. The next fight is in the featherweight division as Jack Jenkins takes on Shepe Mariscal. For this one, Jack Jenkins is a favorite in betting odds, and he won his last fight back in June. As for Shepe Mariscal, he also won back in June at the same event. So it was for his debut. It was by decision. As for Jack, I think it was a finish for Jack. I don't remember correctly. It was probably on the prelim card. I don't watch often the prelim card. No, it was a split decision win. So maybe Jack Jenkins is going to lose this one even though he's in front of his own crowd. But according now, he has a 9-fight win streak, so could be a surprise. Could be the fight of the night if it goes 3 rounds and it's a split decision or unanimous decision. Yeah, could be interesting for this one. Still, I'm going to say that Chopin Mariscal is going to get the win. Maybe a finish. You know what? A TKO in the 3rd round for Chopin Mariscal. Next, in the light heavyweight division, we've got Carlos Ulberg taking on Da Woon Jung. For this one, no-brainer to me, and he's a favorite in betting odds, but Carlos Ulberg is going to get the win by knockout in the 1st round. I have no doubt in my mind about that. But like I said a lot of times, even though they're light heavyweight, there's heavyweight in it, so I expect knockout power. Alright, next we actually stay in the light heavyweight division for the first fight of the main card, and it is Tyson Pedro taking on Anton Turkalj. They're both coming from losses, but Anton Turkalj only been losing since he joined the UFC. He was undefeated before, and yet he faced top competition. I think it was like Thomas Almeida that he fought for his debut. So I understand why he lost. Yet for this one, even the betting odds seems to agree. They are like nobody's favorite in this one. It can go either way, and maybe for Tyson Pedro to go back in the win column, and maybe for Anton Turkalj to get his first win in the UFC. I would prefer Anton Turkalj to get his first win in the UFC, but I think that Tyson Pedro is going to bring on his A level, say, and get the win. Maybe a submission win, maybe a knockout win, for all I know. But I would predict a TKO win in 2nd round for Tyson Pedro. Next, in the heavyweight division, we've got Justin Tafa taking on Austin Lane. I don't know much about Austin Lane. He fought before against Justin Tafa earlier this year, but I think it ended in no contest. So they're having a rematch this time around, and I think that Austin Tafa is going to get the win once again, because he has a 100% finish rate, 100% knockout finish rate. So no brainer and no doubt in my mind once again that Justin Tafa is going to get the win. So TKO or knockout 1st round. Alright, next in the men's flyweight division, we've got 10th ranked Manel Kape taking on Felipe Dos Santos. Felipe Dos Santos is making his debut in the UFC, to being matched right away with a top 10 ranked opponent is kind of throwing him to the lion's den, I would say. So it's going to be a tough fight for sure, but I don't see Felipe Dos Santos getting the win, because Manel Kape is not ranked for no reason. Although he fought almost a year ago, I think he has no reason to lose. He has an excellent finish rate, almost 100%. He only has 1 decision in his record. So, yeah. To me, that's going to be Manel Kape getting the win. How? Maybe another decision, but I see maybe a submission, more likely a submission finish for Manel Kape. Alright, moving on to the co-main event taking place in the heavyweight division. We go back to the heavyweight division as 6th ranked Tai Tuivasa takes on 7th ranked Alexander Volkov. And for this one, Alexander Volkov is the favorite, although I believe he has no chance to win against Tai Tuivasa, although he's a veteran and he has been on a 2-fight win streak. I just don't think he's going to get the win. Tai Tuivasa, like he said a lot of times, he's going for the head. He's aiming at the head. He's a head hunter, I'd say. And maybe this is how he portrays himself. And probably this is how he sees himself. So yeah, Tai Tuivasa to get the win, probably in the first round. And I don't think he's going to have not a bad layoff, I would say, because it's almost a year he hasn't fought in the UFC, but doesn't gonna have octagon rust. I don't think he's going to have lost his marks in the UFC and in the octagon. So yeah, Tai Tuivasa to get the win by knockout or TKO in the first round. And that's it for the co-main event, meaning we now move on to the main event, a 5-round fight for the middleweight championship, so taking place in the middleweight division, and we've got the champion Israel Adesanya taking on 5th ranked Sean Strickland. And this one is interesting because Sean Strickland, in my mind, hasn't done enough to get a title shot, but he came as a replacement, not a late replacement, but a late replacement to Dricus du Plessis. It was originally booked to be Adesanya taking on du Plessis for the belt, because some months ago it was Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis, and it ended with Dricus du Plessis finishing Robert Whittaker. So at that point, Dricus du Plessis won the right to face the champion. There was a very controversial post-fight statement and remarks, and all this, yesterday also, between Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya, there have been comments, for the last few weeks, right, because it has been hyped this way, even before, like back in UFC 276, there was some bad blood between the two, and now they're going to face each other, so that's fate. As for a winner, Israel Adesanya is the massive favorite in the betting odds, -600. So someone who wants to do a safe bet, put his money and predict Israel Adesanya. But maybe Sean Strickland can pull an upset. To be quite frankly, I don't think so. So I'm gonna predict right away Israel Adesanya to get the win. Maybe by decision, because Sean Strickland is a tough one. But I don't see him winning against the champion. When you see Israel Adesanya first run from 2018 or 2019, when he took the belt from Robert Whittaker, until 2022, when he lost the belt to Alex Pereira, his fights, maybe some have been boring to the audience, the MMA community, but he defended his title many times. He has been a fighting champion, so I don't see him lose to the 5th ranked. No offense to Sean Strickland, of course, but I just think Israel Adesanya overcame tougher challenges and maybe more important challenges. This is why I talked earlier about Sean Strickland being a replacement to Dricus du Plessis, because Dricus du Plessis is injured, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I just think that if it would have been Dricus du Plessis, maybe it would have been different in my mind, but this time around, no doubt that Israel Adesanya, whether it's a decision win or a finish win, is going to retain his belt. There's no doubt in my mind. And that's it for UFC 293. So I'll leave you there. Until next time,